Stephen A., what do you make of LeBron's response there?
Well, I think he's right from this perspective. He's a brilliant basketball player. He's a savant on a basketball court. And he has every right, as a four-time league MVP, as a two-time champion, as one of the greatest players we've ever seen, top 5 all time as far as I'm concerned in terms of his talent. There's just no doubt in my mind that he has earned the right to question anything he damn well pleases on a basketball court or involving a basketball team. So in that respect, for people to sit there and just expect him to turn off his basketball IQ and to act like an ignorant talent that's just out there, shoot the basketball, dribble the basketball, pass the basketball, defend, and shut up, that's just very, very insulting to somebody with the level of greatness that he has continuously put on display for 12 plus years. That's just ridiculous. Having said all of that, what I would say is that LeBron also has to step back and ask, what did he do to bring this kind of heat on him? And contrary to what people believe, it's not that he's some coach killer. He wasn't responsible for Paul Silas being gone. He wasn't responsible for Mike Brown being gone. He wasn't responsible for Bernie Bickerstaff being gone in between. He wasn't responsible, he never needed to be responsible for Eric Spoelstra because Pat Riley always was. And whatever issues you may question that he had with Blatt, this is the first time that you can legitimately say or question whether a coach is gone because of LeBron in 13 years in the NBA. So that doesn't quantify or qualify him as a coach killer. So let's get that out of the way. But where I would say he needs to step back and think about some culpability in all of this is with this. Jeff Van Gundy said something on the air last night that I thought was incredibly profound. And I think he's speaking for a lot of people when he brought into play, he was asked a question about LeBron, but he answered in generalities, talking about how he pays more attention to what people do as opposed to what they say, because people, certain athletes and certain coaches and beyond are so incredibly polished in terms of dealing with the media that they're able to dictate a narrative because they're so adroit at manipulation. Well, now we get to LeBron James. LeBron James is a good brother. LeBron James is a role model of the highest order as a professional athlete. His career has been pretty damn close to impeccable on and off the court. When you look at how he has conducted himself, he is somebody I admire. He is somebody anybody should admire. Because when you look at him as a professional athlete, he's pretty damn close to flawless. But when you're that close to flawless, it does raise eyebrows because it almost seems too good to be true. Who you interview with, who asks you questions, what kind of hot seat you're willing to deal with, what kind of criticism or skepticism or cynicism you're willing to embrace. The fact that you have a team that is capable of manipulating every damn thing. You're so polished, you're so insulated, you're so protective that it's rare we believe we get to see the authentic, true you because you're so addicted to coming across as somebody who always does things the right way. And again, I'll get political with you, Skip, for an election year. One of the biggest reasons why I believe Bill Clinton was elected twice was because as an imperfect individual, vast majority of Americans find folks relatable. Allen Iverson, as a basketball player, it wasn't just his imperfections. It was the fact that he was 6 feet. You could look him eye to eye, and he seemed to be somebody you could identify with. That matters to people, particularly in this day and age where such exhaustive measures are exercised to manipulate the masses and the public to get them to see things the way you want to see them. Nobody's better at that as a professional athlete than LeBron. And as a result, from times like this, you see the Wolves coming out looking for an excuse to ask questions or given the excuse to ask questions they wanted to ask all along. They were just waiting for the opportunity. and he's finding it out now.
Okay. Not sure I'm with you on this, but I'm going to try to be. So my 2 cents from a distance is LeBron James might just have the highest basketball IQ I have ever seen, right there with Magic's, with Larry Bird's, if not a touch beyond those two. Extremely gifted mentally as well as physically. I can make the case that LeBron James has been more of a coach maker than a coach killer. But there is this other side to him, and he's now, to me, speaking out of two sides of his mouth. And it's hard for me to reconcile the two. I don't mind LeBron having input into strategizing or in-game substitution patterns or whatever it might be, because many times I think he's seeing it better than the coach does. So why can't he embrace that? He continues to distance himself like, don't look at me, I got nothing to do with this. He's the coach, I'm the player. Well, is that just brand protection? Does he not want to be in harm's way? Is he building in another excuse in case things do go bad? He can just say, I don't coach the team, look at him. You know, you should ask those questions of this guy, okay? But I look back at his history. And again, you were around. I was listening to a lot of my friends who were covering the team when he was the first go-around with the Cavs. He seemed to have issues constantly with Mike Brown. Does that mean he's a coach killer? No. Maybe Mike Brown wasn't that great. And then you yourself brought up yesterday that first year in Miami, early on, LeBron got to the point of frustration that he wanted Coach Spoelstra, out. And Dwayne had to sort of talk him off the ledge, and then the rest is NBA history because it clicked, and Pat Riley was there, obviously, to talk him off the ledge. Is that fair to say? So he had an early...
To some degree, he grew to love Spoelstra.
I got it. Okay.
But the
he had
problem
an early
was
issue.
that
Okay?
the young,
but
early
then
issues. Yes.
LeBron said yesterday, I've never disrespected a coach. I got to tell you, he openly disrespected David Blatt. It was humiliating to me. And again, I don't have that much respect for David Blatt. I probably should have more given his international success because it was enormous. But LeBron would unannounced walk off the floor and take himself out of games. And I told you the one that really knocked me out of my chair was the night they were at the Spurs. LeBron waved off Kyrie, waved him back to the bench when he was subbing in for Delly, who was about to receive an inbounds pass from LeBron because he thought Delly at 6'4" could post up on 5'11" Patty Mills. Okay, I'm cool with that, but it's just in the face of David Blatt to where after a while he's ignoring David Blatt in sideline huddles. That's disrespectful. Is it valid disrespect? Yes, it is to me, but embrace it, except you can't tell me, oh, I've never disrespected. You disrespected this coach the way I've never seen a superstar publicly in a game disrespect a coach. Is that fair? That's just me.
Well, you're very perceptive because you saw what you saw, and a lot of us saw it. So you're not wrong, and you're absolutely right in bringing it up. But again, that doesn't amount to a coach killer, and that's really what he was commenting about. In no way was he saying that he openly defied David Blatt in a playoff game in Chicago. Yeah. He didn't apologize for that. Okay, he openly stated as much, okay? And we knew about it because he told us. We didn't even know until he told us. So you definitely have a point there, and nobody's refuting it. I'm just simply saying that the word coach killers, that's a strong stigma. That's a strong stigma to fend off.
It is. I agree.
He has every right. He has every right to want to fend that off. Let's get to the issue of him protecting his brand. Well, guess what, Skip? He's either a role model or he's not. If we want to sit up here and say that LeBron is a role model, that he's the quintessential superstar athlete, he epitomizes everything that we should want a superstar athlete to be, and we thrust that responsibility on his shoulders, why shouldn't he be about the business of protecting his brand? It makes sense to me. Okay. It should make sense to everybody else.
It does to me, too.
The problem is, but again, the problem is we get into a different dynamic. Because, Skip Bayless, you might have folks, listen, we love ourselves some Tiger Woods. We love ourselves Tiger Woods, the golfer. It ain't the same without him.
Nope.
We root for him all the time.
Yep.
But as a community, we will never forget when that man sat up there and said that he wasn't black. I mean, you can't get more offensive to black folks than that.
I know.
You just can't do it. Trust
got
me
it.
on that. And
Yep.
so LeBron has never said anything like that. He has never alluded to anything like that.
Yep.
And we know who he is and what he brings to the table, and we're very proud of him. But there are times when, not necessarily along the lines that you're talking about, but we want him to stand up and say, you know what? Y'all kiss my you know what. This is who I am. Deal with it. This is what I bring to the table. Deal with it. You see anybody else bringing this to the table on a consistent basis that I did so for 13 years? There are times where we crave for him not to be as polished in an effort to be a bit more authentic and not reel himself in so much. Because sometimes, if we're being honest, other folks need us to be that way just to be reminded of who the hell you dealing with. Sometimes that's necessary. Sometimes it's not.
Hear you. Agreed.
All right, we will leave it there. Let's move on to the team standing in LeBron's way. The Warriors continue to dominate. When one Splash brother falls off, the other